Hi, my name is Sasha, and I am Canadian. Throughout my young adult life, I've been lucky enough to travel the world. And wherever I'd go, people would always ask me, what was Canada like? But that's a really loaded question. Canada reaches 3 oceans and a land area of 9.98 million square kilometers. Its 36 million inhabitants differ so greatly. Is it even possible to pin down definitely what a Canadian is? That's what I set out to do, determining if there is a universal, widespread Canadian identity. And I was going to determine this the only way I knew how. Through song. Therein lies my mission, to write a Canadian national song which would be accepted by all Canadians, inclusively representing all populations of Canada. Once I had the song, it was time to put it to the test. I was going to play the song to anyone and everyone I could, getting the largest data sample. I was going to determine if, with such a diverse population, it was even possible to unite all Canadians behind one single song. For my first interview, I went straight to the source and visited my old friend Ayla at the most quintessentially Canadian place I could think of, Harvey's.
Hi, I'm Ayla. I'm 26 years old. I'm Ojibwe native. I grew up on Whitefish Lake First Nation. So both my parents born and raised. Yeah, so I would introduce myself as Native American, Canadian.
So you're Native American first and Canadian second?
Yes. The way I see it is the way you're raised as in Canada basically determines how you would identify yourself, because I was raised on a reserve, raised with the cultures, raised with the beliefs and the values that go into identifying as an Ojibwe Native. But as I grow older and older, I more susceptible to popular media and things like that and other issues in Canada, but at the end of the day still go back to my original roots as Ojibwe.
Do you think that the song portrays what Canadian is?
I think it definitely portrays a lot of the more mainstream culture of Canadians. If you want to go history-wise, I think it lacks a little bit. But other than that, if you want to go Canadian culture and the way you want to see a Canadian and can explain a Canadian, definitely that's what the song portrays. Well, I mean, again, as being a Canadian, we're all inclusive, right? And you definitely hit the nail on the head with including every part of Canada when it comes to like refugees and Indigenous and the French and everybody all in one. Yeah. Okay. So I really enjoyed that there was that part there, because the First Nations and apologizing and everything like that, because that is a big issue that we're having right now. And it's only been coming to light more so recently, but not as in light as it should be.
Okay.
But even not just Indigenous history, there's other parts of history as well, how Canada came to be, all of the improvements that have happened along the way, how it's become more equal and accepting and things like that.
Okay. So you would kind of broadcast this song and you would accept it as a Canadian nationalistic song?
Yeah.
You would accept it?
Yeah, I would accept that.
All right, I got the First Nation seal of approval.
After talking with Ayla, it gave me hope that perhaps there was a possibility of representing all Canadians through one national song. But her comments about history made me think, was it our common, shared Canadian history which defined us? As a First Nations, it's her history and past which defines her as a Canadian. But was that a fair assumption to make of all Canadians? The next logical step was to see my friend Daria, who immigrated to Canada when she was 7 years old, and so doesn't necessarily share our Canadian history.
Hi, my name's Daria. I'm 20 years old. I was born in Belarus, and then I moved to Canada, to Toronto when I was 7, and then I moved to Ottawa when I was 18 for university.
So in your opinion, what does it mean to be Canadian?
I think something I kind of learned as a growing up here was that being Canadian is just kind of like caring about other people, and that's just something that I've really come to terms with. It's just caring about other people, trying to help other people. It's just really not thinking only about yourself. It's being inclusive and being friendly. Being friendly is kind of a really big thing. As when I first moved here, it was very surprising to me how many people were just so kind, and that's just kind of like what I've based my opinions off of. Like, this is what it means to be a Canadian. I really like the song. I like how you brought up like different places in Canada and just things that are very Canadian, like whether you came with Cartier or Sense is new, like that, like coming with Cartier, like that's something that's very Canadian that people would know about. Just all like the references, like the pun with like Je sens Trudeau, like I think that's hilarious. I love that. I'm not really a fan of like the fifth happiest country and getting closer. That would just kind of like, we're really happy. It doesn't matter that we're happiest. But I also like how you had the paragraph in French because a lot of people forget to do that. And that also, we can't forget that French people are also part of the Canadian culture. And I think that like the fact that there is like a full French paragraph is a good thing as well.
Do you think that the song does a good job of trying to represent all of Canada and all aspects of Canada?
I think so, yeah, because there's all the different references. You don't forget the fact that there's immigrants and refugees and all these people coming into Canada. Just the fact that like the reference, like we're not American. It's not the same. I think just because we're so close and our cultures are very similar, we're not the same thing. And I do think like it very much tries to incorporate all of Canada, especially like with the many quotes like, well, let's watch the Leafs lose again and again. Like people can relate to that, and I think like being relatable is really important.
So you would accept this song
Yes.
as a song that represents you as a Canadian? Okay.
I would.
So far, I was 2 for 2. To Daria, history isn't important, but our inclusiveness is. That's what defines us and brings Canadians together. Things were looking bright in my mission of writing an inclusive Canadian national song. But now, it was time to get the French-Canadian perspective on the matter.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Angélie, j'ai 16 ans, je suis canadienne-française depuis 9 générations. Ma famille est venue ici en les années 1800. Et pour moi, être canadien, c'est être tolérant, c'est être très acceptant de toutes les différentes religions, ethnicités, les différentes cultures et vivre ensemble dans une tapisserie de différentes personnes et différentes traditions et échanger nos traditions et vivre en multiculture.
From Montreal's alleys to the Yukon's igloo, stand up proud, you got the North right in you.
Ok, donc c'est quoi ton opinion de la chanson?
J'ai vraiment aimé, je pense que ça avait un bon rythme et j'ai vraiment aimé que vous avez mis une partie en français. Ça faisait que moi comme canadienne française, je me sens plus comme inclus dedans. Et j'aime aussi, j'adore Justin Trudeau, donc j'aime qu'il est dedans et que ça va comme pour toujours être dans cette chanson, donc ça me fait vraiment content. J'ai beaucoup d'amis qui sont des réfugiés, donc j'ai vraiment apprécié que vous le mettez dedans, parce que je pense qu'eux aussi ils aimeraient cette chanson. Parce que cette chanson les fait les références comme s'ils étaient Canadiens, et c'est comme beaucoup d'eux ils se voient déjà comme Canadiens. Donc je pense que c'est vraiment bien, ça englobe ce que ça veut dire d'être Canadien très bien, et même ça prend nos stéréotypes et ça les tourne comme quelque chose de bien, comme le fait qu'on a de la monnaie Monopoly. C'est quelque chose que les Américains en particulier nous taquinent à propos. Et
Donc, à ton avis, cette chanson, comme elle est, comme si tu l'acceptes comme une chanson nationale canadienne. Elle te représente, en ton avis?
Oui, je pense que oui. Et spécialement comme je suis jeune, donc je pense que j'aime vraiment ça.
Ok, parfait, merci.
To French-Canadian Anjali, being Canadian is all about acceptance. Thus, I'm extremely grateful that she accepted my song. Although the language and the culture may differ, she's still a Canadian at heart and has shared goals and values with the rest of us. It seemed like the song was representative, for the most part, of Canadians. But I had only really spoken to millennials so far, so now it was time to take it old school.
Hi, my name is Mark. I'm 48 years old. I grew up here in Ottawa, and I can trace back my ancestry to the 1600s, late 1600s.
Okay. So Mark, in your opinion, what is the Canadian identity? What defines you as a Canadian?
So the easy answer to that question is that Canadians are not Americans. They're not U.S. citizens. But it's a bit more complicated than that. We're a serious mix of European culture with a North American flavor, but with all the immigration from all over the world now, we're a lot more than that. So we're laid back, friendly people, polite. Sorry.
Okay, so what do you think of the song?
It's catchy. It's fun. Light. Not sure we need to have a song that embodies Canadianness, but doesn't mean people can't try.
Okay. And do you think that this is a valiant effort?
Sure. It's got a lot of good elements in there.
Like what?
A reference to the different areas of Canada, different, I think you call them tropes, like the Leafs always losing, and apologizing, and talking about Indigenous people. That's very, very much in the news today.
Okay, so even though in your opinion we don't need a song, if we were to get one, something like this you would be okay with?
Sure. Or we can have many.
So far, the song was working its magic, because now it was approved by Generation X. But a pattern was starting to form, one of Canadian culture being diverse, accepting, and inclusive. But that's the thing, isn't it? With a place so diverse, how could we all possibly be summed up into one identity, let alone a song?
Hi, my name's Ryan. I'm 22 years old. I'm third generation Canadian, and I grew up in Ottawa, Ontario.
What does it mean to you to be Canadian? What is the Canadian identity?
Diversity, I would say, is one of the main keys of it. The country that has so many immigrants for such a long period of time and has continued to be a place that people feel comfortable and that their cultures can be integrated into Canadian culture. Like when someone asks what is Canadian culture, I feel like it's the combination of cultures because of how diverse our society is and how integrated everything is. And like even when it comes to Canadian food, like I know people will say like, oh, poutine, but no, I think it's a combination of cultures, and yeah, diversity I would say is a Canadian identity.
Okay. What did you think of the song?
I enjoyed it. It was very catchy, had a good beat, and it covered all the stuff.
So you think that the song would be able to stand as a Canadian song that represents all of Canada?
I think it does a good job of representing a large portion of Canada, definitely. Yeah.
So to you, you would accept this as a song that represents you as Canadian?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Seems pretty Canadian to me.
That's good. No,
Well, there you have it. I had made it to the end of my journey, and despite my uncertainty, it actually is possible, on some level, to embody Canada in its entirety, at least into a song. It may just be that the Canadians I spoke to were just too nice and friendly, but I think it's more than that. I was trying to identify Canada through a song that would be representative of all the diversity and different populations of Canada. But there's something I forgot to take into account about our culture.